Broadcasting live, KSLA News 12 starts now.
Good evening, I'm Destiny Patterson. Thanks for watching our weekend edition of KSLA News 12. Let's get right into it. New at 10, if you need to go to a city building in Shreveport, be sure to grab a mask. It's almost like deja vu. You'll be required to wear one in city buildings until further notice due to the recent surge in COVID-19 cases. Data shows the Omicron variant is more contagious than previous strains and may carry an increased risk of reinfection. Shreveport's new mandate comes just hours after Louisiana's health department sent out an alert about the rising cases. The department is reporting that hospitalizations doubled in the last week. So let's take a look at this map. This shows the risk, the level of risk when it comes to COVID-19. You can see that in Caddo and Bossier, they're both in a high level of, or substantial level for COVID-19, but in Webster and Red River, they have the highest level of risk. Dr. Anthony Fauci says the most important thing is making sure our hospitals do not get overwhelmed.
Make sure, given the rapid spread of this extraordinary variant, that we don't get an overrun on hospitals, particularly in those regions in which you have a larger proportion of unvaccinated individuals.
On that same note, the Overton Brooks VA Medical Center is changing its visitation policy in anticipation of another COVID surge. Officials say access to the hospital will be restricted to only those scheduled for an appointment or if they're getting a COVID vaccine. And there can only be one person per patient, and the emergency room waiting area will be restricted to veterans only. The state health department says more people want at-home rapid COVID-19 swabs. One official says the demand is causing a shortage of those types of tests. But we're told there's no reason to race to get the rapid test because there are still plenty of the PCR nasal swabs giving at testing sites. This new surge, fueled by the Omicron variant, is sweeping the nation, and it's continuing to cause major disruptions for airline travelers this holiday weekend. Cole Higgins reports.
As Americans celebrated yet another holiday during the pandemic,
they've got their mask and everybody has their own sanitizer in their backpack.
A surge of new COVID cases nationwide fueled by the Omicron variant, leaving healthcare workers in some parts of the country stretched thin and with little to celebrate.
Hospitals in the Twin Cities are overwhelmed and unable to take new patients because we're bursting at our seams already.
At least 12 states seen an uptick in COVID hospitalizations over the past week, with more than 71,000 Americans currently hospitalized with COVID-19. The surge causing major disruptions for airline travelers this Christmas weekend.
As soon as we got here, we found out our flight was canceled to Maui.
More than 900 U.S. flights canceled just Sunday alone. Globally, airlines canceling more than 6,000 flights since Friday.
The reason that our flight was canceled was because of lack of flight attendants. It's sad. It's just really sad.
But some health officials predicting 2022 could be the year we get a handle on COVID-19.
I think it is definitely the year we get this under control. We will get to a point where we'll see new waves of infection. It will not have a big effect on hospitals. People will go on. People will not get really sick and die. And we will learn to live with this virus, and it will stop being so disruptive to our lives.
A hope likely shared by all this Christmas weekend. I'm Cole Higgins reporting.
To boost depleted hospitals, the CDC has issued new guidance for healthcare workers who do not have symptoms. They can now reduce their quarantine from 10 to 7 days with a negative test. Air travelers who create issues while aboard planes can lose their TSA pre-check credentials. FAA Administrator Steve Dixon summed it up this way, quote, "If you act out of line, you'll wait in line," unquote. The FAA points out TSA pre-check is a privilege, not a right. There were about 5,800 complaints of unruly behavior by airline passengers in 2021, and most were related to mask rules. Many of the people who spent the holidays away from home are returning today. For the first time in months, families were able to reconnect and enjoy a meal together. People at the Baton Rouge airport say that time with their loved ones was the best gift they could ask for.
I was really thankful. I haven't seen my family in a while, my sister too, so it was just good seeing everybody together, and they met my girlfriend for the first time, so it was just really a good holiday.
Because of COVID, he hadn't seen his family in what?
In like 6 months. Yeah.
Over 6 months,
So it's been a while, so it's good to just go back. I can't really go back and forth as much as I used to because of COVID, but once it slows down, like hopefully I can go back and forth more.
The Baton Rouge airport seems to have been mostly spared from last-minute cancellations, but today alone, more than 700 flights in other parts of the country were grounded. Bad weather and COVID-19 are being blamed. A Carnival cruise ship that saw a small outbreak of coronavirus has returned to land. The Carnival Freedom ship got back to Miami today after leaving earlier this month. The cruise line said a small number of people tested positive for COVID-19 and 2 of its planned stops were canceled after being denied entry. At least 4 ocean cruise ships had similar issues due to COVID-19 cases aboard.
They didn't inform us of hardly anything. They let everybody go about their business. The only reason why we found out that people on the ship had COVID is because the first destination we were supposed to go to, we sat there for a couple of hours and then we found out they wouldn't let us on that destination because of so many people on the ship having COVID.
President Biden is joining the UK in lifting the travel ban imposed on 8 southern African countries. According to a White House official, the restrictions will be lifted early on New Year's Day. The U.S. and a number of other nations banned travel from some countries in southern Africa because of the Omicron variant. The move received a lot of pushback and came under new scrutiny as the Omicron variant became predominant in the U.S. Time is running out for your child to have a shot at $100. The state's vaccine incentive program ends on New Year's Eve. Anyone who's getting their first dose of a COVID-19 vaccine qualifies for that program, and children between the ages 5 and 17 are also eligible for that extra cash. To register, just head to shotatamillion.com. So now we're going to send it over to our First Alert meteorologist, Jessica Moore. It was a beautiful weekend. What are we expecting going into the week?
Well, we're expecting more above average temperatures and the chances for rain back here in the Arklatex. Here's a look at future track, just a snapshot really of Wednesday morning. We're looking at potentially some showers for the I-30 corridor and south of I-20 as well. Something I'll keep an eye on, but want to give you the first alert to what we're tracking and keeping an eye on as we go throughout the rest of your work week. Right now, we're looking at very nice and calm skies and weather here across the Arklatex. As you're looking at our NSU Skycam, a beautiful night. Temperatures though still on the mild side, so expect that as well as you head out the door tomorrow morning. We're at 69 currently in Shreveport, 68 right now in Minden and Mansfield, 68 in Natchitoches, low 70s right now for Texarkana and Mount Pleasant, 57 currently in DeQueen. Idabel sitting at 66 degrees. Overnight temperatures will take a drop into the mid and upper 60s. I think we'll get around 66 tonight in Coushatta, 65 in Center, as well as Marshall, Texas. Could drop as well as low as the upper 50s for DeQueen, 61 over in Idabel. We'll continue to see those temperatures in the morning hours fairly mild, but I think Monday will be one of our dry days. However, rain chances will start to increase heading into Tuesday and Wednesday due to a cold front. I'll have more of those details in your full forecast.
A man is in the hospital tonight with life-threatening injuries after being shot at a party around 4 this morning. Shreveport police say he was shot in the upper back, but he didn't even notice he was hit until he got into his car. Police found the man and his vehicle crashed into a wall on the overpass at I-20. Currently, there are no arrests. The Arklatex continues to mourn the loss of a firefighter who was killed in an on-duty accident 2 weeks ago. 28-year-old Jesse Henry was working on the tire of a fire truck when the tire exploded. Both the public viewing and the funeral for the fallen firefighter will be held on Wednesday, December 29th. Public viewing will be from 9 a.m. until 11 a.m. And right after that, the celebration of life service will start at 11 a.m. at Hearst Coliseum. Procession and burial will immediately follow that. In September, a record 4.4 million Americans quit their jobs. But why the wave of resignations? Greta Van Susteren asked Working Nation President Jane Otis tonight on Full Court Press.
I think a lot of them took jobs that were placeholder jobs, temporary jobs that weren't related to what they studied. And now they're starting to find real opportunities into career paths. I think that I'm going to be optimistic about that, although I don't want to dismiss. I think there's a ton of people, probably over 45, over 50, who said, I'm done. I really have been running this rat race. I'm going to enjoy my life, enjoy my family, enjoy my friends, and take a job that's not as stressful.